Good morning, everybody. It's Christina from the Castaway Kitchen, doing a little impromptu live. I'm really excited for this live because I am making Chewy chocolate chip cookies. You can get the link on the sidebar. And this recipe is from my cookbook, Made Whole. Made Whole is a collection. It's about 151 recipes. They're all keto, paleo, anti-inflammatory, dairy-free, nut-free, nightshade-free. Pretty much every recipe has a modification. There's modifications for autoimmune protocol, for egg-free, for coconut-free, because I joke that like coconut is like my bae because when you're not doing nuts or dairy, you get a lot of coconut in the mix. But anyways, I digress. So I'm really excited because I shared this recipe from my cookbook with my good friend Kendra at Pizza Oven Low Carb. So you can go to the link in the caption and get this cookie recipe, which you're not going to find anywhere else but in the cookbook or on her blog. I love Kendra. She has a great community over at Pizza Oven Low Carb. She's been doing the keto thing forever, and I just really admire her work. So it means a lot to me that she's posted this recipe and shared information about my book on her website. If you're not familiar with my work, I've been doing paleo for three years and some change. I've done like 6 Whole30s. I did the autoimmune protocol. I've pretty much put my autoimmune disease in remission and just like turned like my life around really. And a big part of it is food, but a lot of, internal work too, emotional and like mindset wise as well. And I really talk about that whole journey in my cookbook. It really is a culmination of all of my work, not just as a chef and creating recipes, but as someone who has lived these struggles, right? Like with you, like many of you have. So I'm really proud of the cookbook. You can also pre-order it in the link. So let's make these cookies. I will tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see the bowl. This cookie recipe, it's a 1 bowl recipe, people. All you need is 1 bowl. So we're gonna start with 2 large eggs. I'm gonna crack them in here. And we're gonna whisk until frothy. And I got some eggshell in there. And I'm just using a fork. That's one of the things I love about this recipe is that you don't need any special equipment, really. All you need is a bowl and a fork and some measuring cups, and you're good to go. This recipe is, like I said, nut-free, and you can easily make it dairy-free by using coconut oil instead of butter. We're gonna be using a combination of ghee and bacon fat today. I got the idea of using, so you're gonna whisk these until frothy. I got the idea of using bacon fat in cookies from Teresa, who runs the dairy-free keto Facebook group, and I was like, that's genius. Okay, so we're gonna do some vanilla extract. Ooh, cutting it close there with the vanilla extract. We're gonna do a 1/3 cup of erythritol. I only have powdered erythritol today on hand, but that's fine. So I could like scoop it, make sure it's level, add that in there, and the fat. Hold on. See, just keep mixing. And now we're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of the fat. So I'm gonna do my bacon fat first. I might have a full 1/4 cup. Yeah, I did a bunch of bacon for breakfast this morning. So this should be exciting. I'm excited to see how it turns out with the bacon fat. And just keep mixing it. And this like egg sweetener fat mix is gonna be like thick and kind of creamy. I'm gonna make sure you get all the sweetener off the sides. Okay, and now that that's nice and well combined, we're gonna add in the dry ingredients, and you just throw them right in here. Let me go grab the gelatin. So the secret ingredient to the chewy cookies is gelatin, which the recipe works without it. You don't need it, but I like the like real chewiness that it adds. Here's a note: when you're measuring coconut flour, like you see how that is like a little, that's too much. Like when you're measuring coconut flour, you have to be exact. So I'm gonna like over the sink, run this knife over it like that, because even that little hump of coconut flour can throw a recipe off. It's so absorbent. So that's 1/3 cup. And now we're gonna go in with the teaspoons. Same thing, make sure they're not like rounded in any way, because coconut flour, I get a lot of people who like, I don't like baking with coconut flour. And my response is, you're just not doing it right. Sorry if that sounds mean, but it's true. If your coconut flour is really great to use, you just have to like be very vigilant and use very little. I'm telling you, 1/3 cup for this whole recipe. The nut flour version of this takes 2 cups of almond meal. So for 2 cups of almond meal, we're using about 1/3 cup of coconut flour. So to kind of wrap your head around that kind of conversion. Baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon. It's extremely absorbent. All right, and then 1 tablespoon of the gelatin. 2 tablespoons. All right. And just keep mixing. And then this is gonna become like kind of a dry, crumbly dough. And that is a-okay. My oven is already preheated to 350. So here's another note on coconut flour. If you're first stirring the dough and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not coming together, give it a minute. Coconut flour will continue, see, to thicken and thicken and thicken as it absorbs. So you see how it just keeps getting thicker? There you go. Now I'm gonna switch to a spatula and we're gonna fold in the chopped chocolate. I'm using an 85% dark cacao bar. You can also use Lily's chocolate, which is stevia sweetened, but honestly, this bar is 4 ingredients, soy-free, and it's actually lower in carb than the stevia sweetened bar, just because of how dark it is. And then I'm just folding it in, see? Guys, this is it. The cookie, that's it. The cookies are done. Now we just shape them and bake them. And I will show you my tips for making like the perfect cookies on the sheet pan. Please excuse the way I look. It is like 8:30 in the morning here. I don't have a lick of makeup on. And I literally only put on pants to come on Facebook. So you're welcome. Okay. I got my baking sheet. I have a silicone mat. You can use parchment paper as well. And I'm gonna use my tablespoon to shape my cookies. Let me put this down again. Okay, so, ta-da. Also, I often get people who are like, why don't my cookies look like your cookies in the picture? Well, for one, I use chopped up chocolate, and that is a big reason why the cookies that I make look a certain way, because the chopped up chocolate creates those nice melty pools. Also, you see that I shape my cookies into perfectly round balls. That's also going to create really uniform, like circular cookies instead of having like odd shaped cookies. So this is where the magic happens, people. This is where, you know, it's worth taking a little extra time. Let me show you the scooper I have. Which, this one's a little bit on the small side, but you can use, you see, something like this as well. See? And it makes really good cookies. So the trick to those beautiful little round cookies that you see on Instagram and you're like, how the hell do they make such pretty cookies? Usually it's a cookie scoop. And you can buy a cookie scoop on Amazon for really cheap, and they come usually in a few sizes, like ice cream scoop size. I think this is the smallest one, like almost like a melon baller size. But here's another example. See this cookie, how it has that big piece of chocolate on the top? this one will be like the money shot. Like when this one cooks, that little chunk of chocolate is gonna be that beautiful pool. And if you see the picture on my feed, there's a cookie with like the pool of chocolate. That's it. So that's how you get those really nice melty chocolate chip cookies. Us food bloggers, our food isn't pretty by accident, you know? We do things like this on purpose so the food looks nice, because something you learn in my business, doesn't matter how good a recipe is, if it doesn't look good, no one's gonna make it. Unfortunately, it's very visual. All right, almost done. And then, yeah, these only take like 8 minutes to bake, but I won't have you guys like stare at my face for 8 minutes while they bake. So what I'll do is, once I pop these in the oven, I'll just come back to this post and like post a little short video or picture demo in the comments with the finished product. But as you can see, super easy 1 bowl recipe. And these cookies are dairy-free, nut-free keto cookies. I made these with bacon fat, which is awesome. But you can use butter, you can use ghee, you can use coconut oil, you can use lard. Lard is really good in baking, like leaf lard. Scraping the last one up. All right, so you see I have this like 1 little baby cookie left. So what I'm gonna do is, this one's kind of big, so I'm gonna steal a chunk of chocolate from this one and add it to this one, reshape it, put it back down. Voila. Okay, so now that they're all, I just keep throwing stuff in my sink and it's just lovely. I have to do so many dishes afterwards. Okay, and now that all my little balls are ready to go, don't use your fingers. If you use your fingers to flatten them, they're gonna have the marks. Use your palm. And you don't have to like squish them to hell. Literally just gently flatten them. They will flatten a little bit more, a little bit. This recipe doesn't, so I'm gonna put the chocolate on top. This recipe does not spread out as much. Like it really will still stay relatively this shape. But you just wanna gently flatten them so they're not like balls. But use your palm and then that way, see? Beautiful. Now these are gonna go in the oven. I've made this recipe like 100 times and I'm still, so I didn't, because I used bacon fat in these, I didn't put salt in them because bacon fat is pretty salty, but I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit of salt on top. But the recipe does call for like a teaspoon of salt in it. Did I put the salt in it? I don't remember. It's early here, people. Okay, so that's it. So like I said, these cookies are from my cookbook, Made Whole, which is all dairy-free, nut-free keto recipes. I will be posting in 8 minutes in the comments the finished product of these cookies. If you want to make them, head over to Peace, Love, and Low Carb, because these cookies are so good and they're chewy and they're like, and people are already making them and your mind's gonna be blown. Like I said, the whole recipe takes a 1/3 cup of coconut flour versus like 2 cups of almond meal. Because I think people are like, oh, the coconut flour isn't low carb. I'm like, well, you use such a small amount. It actually is because you use so much less. Anyway, I'm really excited about sharing this recipe, and I think it's such a great example of like the creative, delicious, easy recipes in my cookbook. So hopefully you make the cookies, you love it so much, and you're like, I gotta go buy that book. Yeah, so remember to follow me on Instagram as well. I'm always posting and cooking and stories. I'm gonna also download this and upload it to my YouTube channel, so if you wanna watch the playback there. And yeah, that's it. Links are in the comments. I feel like when I point, there you go. Links are right there. That's it, guys. Have a good day. Bye.